Okay, you are consenting to be recorded. Continue. I believe we are recording. All right, fantastic. All right, my
Okay.
friend, how are you?
Pretty good. Getting back into the swing of things. It is the new year, and so people are trying to make projects and make books and make content. So that is my line of work. So I'm in the thick of it now.
Yeah, I feel like, we had about 2 or 3 weeks where things kind of calmed down and then things just kind of take off again.
Yeah, it was dead, and I needed it. I needed to not do anything for a while. Even after I got home from the holidays, I was just like, I'm I need to lie down. 'Cause it was a very busy month for me, December. I was all over the place. So I took
So
that
why
me
don't we
time.
why don't we start this with kind of like a whole you're me or you're you, I'm me kind of introduction thing, and then we can just go from there and then just chat and talk.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Um, hi, folks. I'm Michael Lortz, the author of Curveball at the Crossroads, and I'm here with Torian Brackett. He's the narrator of Curveball at the Crossroads. And we figured we'd do this Zoom meeting to kind of talk. We've met before, and we had a really good time. And we just want to kind of create content, but also give you a look. I have a conversation about what was maybe the book and our careers up to this point. So, Torian, do you have a little intro?
Yeah, hi, I'm Torian Brackett. I'm a voice actor based in New York, right above the city. I started voice acting right around the top of our lovely quarantine. I'd been doing musical theater before then, from about 2014 up through 2020, and was kind of forced to make a pivot. I think a lot of people were forced to pivot in different directions when all this happened, but voice acting was really good for me, and I'm really enjoying myself.
You're really good at it, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, for those who will eventually watch this, we met before. We met right before Christmas. You had come down from from New York to Orlando to visit family. How was your visit?
Oh, so wonderful. I got to see my sister and my niece, who I never get to see. I got to visit my dad in Miami right after. So it was just a nice, warm change of pace for me, being away from the cold New York weather for the holidays. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's great. No thoughts of moving down to Florida.
It's so tempting just for the weather alone.
Right.
But there's some things that I'd probably miss from up here. The pizzas, you can't
This is
beat it.
true. This is your pizza, bagels,
Yeah, I'm like I miss my
short food.
comforts from being away for a month.
And as well, I feel like the media scene and just the content creation scene is probably better in New York City.
Well, there's especially when it comes to live theater, that's really big in New
Oh
York.
yeah,
But
100%.
with voice acting, you can honestly work from anywhere, especially after the pandemic or, once that started, it really became clear that people could work from anywhere in the world as long as they had a booth and a suitable sound. No one really cares where their MP3s are coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
So I take it that's your booth.
Yes, my little dungeon. This is where Curveball happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It almost looks brick, and it almost looks like a thing from like Mario Brothers or something.
Yeah, the foam. So it's really I lucked out being here because it's an attic apartment and it's got, this is the roof above me. So this slant in the wall is really good acoustically because all the sound is bouncing off at weird angles and it doesn't go right back into the mic.
Oh,
So once I
nice.
put the foam up, it was really a good setup for me.
So is that something that you made that investment before becoming a voice actor, or did you realize like this is the studio I need, or how did that work?
Yeah, once I started, I didn't get the foam right away. It was just walls before that, and that kind of worked for a bit. for quieter projects. My first job was actually an audiobook, so the walls weren't as big of an issue because I was just kind of talking in the same tone and volume most of the time. But if I had to get louder or if I was doing dynamic character work, you could hear the room. And it became a
Right.
point where I was like, okay, how am I going to improve my space? And this really just, well, what's a great investment. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
It's got a
And
nice
it looks
visual.
great too. Yeah.
And so I guess we might as well jump right in. So you are the narrator of Curveball at the Crossroads, and how did that come about? How did on your end? I know how it came about on my end, but how did it come about on your end?
Well, I got an email one day from Jocelyn over at Nubian Audio, asking if I would audition for this story she had thought of me for. She thought I'd be a great fit for the project.
Oh wow.
And yeah, yeah, so I, yeah, we had connected on Twitter some point in 2020. You know, I had seen one of her posts, and I reached out to try to get on the roster of narrators she has. So I think she just was familiar with me already. So when she had gotten in touch with you about Curveball, I think she just played that love connection game that casting
Yeah.
directors and producers do so often. So once she sent me the audition, it's funny, my cousin was visiting at the time, and he was sitting right behind me when I did the audition, when I read for it was that scene where JaMark is at the crossroads and he meets the devil for the first time, which I'm really glad that that was the audition excerpt, because I got to really dig into that role, which
Yeah. Right off
is
the bat.
some of my favorite parts of the book is when he appears. So I'm glad I got to portray that in the audition. You know.
That's awesome because she had mentioned when I talked to her on the phone. So what was interesting for me is obviously the book is not about people that look like me. And that was really interesting because I wanted to find a storyteller who can portray the characters better than I
Mm.
could. And so when I got on the phone with Jacqueline, and I sent her an email like out of the blue because I looked at their qualifications there and I said, wow, they definitely know what they're doing. And they look small enough where they're not like a major firm where I'm going to go broke or they're just going to dismiss me as a first time author. So we talked on the phone for about an hour. It was my lunch break, and I never got out of the parking lot at my work. I went to the car, called them up on, we arranged a time when I should call, and I called. And I never ate lunch that day because I was in my car talking to her the entire time, my lunch break. So I went back into the office. I was like, this it's perfect. Like, and she actually said that right when we talked about it, she's like, I have a couple of people in mind. I have one in mind that's really going that I like. It was immediate
Even
that
on the
she went from,
before reading anything.
well, no, because she had like the intro, and I think I sent her the PDF of the book.
Okay.
So she had the PDF of the book before it was printed. Um, and or it was the original, the version one, the first edition, and she had that PDF, and she went through it. She's like, I have the perfect person in mind. This was
That's
like
really
in our
good.
phone call, and she had told me, the pricing tiers and things. If I wanted to throw the bank at it, I could get their top tier person. But she's like, if you want to pay the decent, the regular amount, I have the perfect person in mind. And I was like, wow, okay. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so, I think, somewhere within a month, I got yours. And I was like, well, this is great. This is awesome. Um, but of course I was thinking, I was like, you were the first one. Can I hear somebody else? Anybody? Because Torian's amazing. And that was right when I connected with you on social media. And I said, he's amazing. And I did my research, and going to your webpage and everything. And I said, he's great. But can I hear one more? She's like, you don't have to. Like, he's it. Like, you don't need to hear anybody else. I was like, okay. So at that point, I'm definitely ceding to the experts. So I was absolutely ceding to her. And she said it would take, I think it took about a month or two for you to record. I
Yeah.
definitely want to ask you about that process. And then boom, the magic was done. I was overwhelmed. The interesting thing was, and I think I let you hear this, I had a friend of mine that recorded that exact
Yeah.
scene where JaMark meets the devil. And my friend is a radio guy. He works for the nonprofit radio. His name is Petro Mobili, and he has a very deep voice. He's older.
Mm.
So I didn't think that he could do the character as well as I knew that you could. So that's why I didn't want to keep it local. I needed to hire a pro, and you did a great job. So
Thanks.
that's the backstory from my perspective.
It was a lot of fun, and I remember, yeah, that came in, somewhere in I should look up exactly when I got this email from her. I'll check my folder real quick, and I can tell you exactly when it came in. Just a quick search. This was September 10th. I got
Okay.
the email, and I sent back the audition, like, the next day. No, the 9th, and I sent the audio on the 10th. Without a second thought, JaMark hurled the bottle towards the highway junction. It shattered on impact, splattering the road with its remaining contents. Confused, but still seeking a temporary buzz, JaMark lit his last remaining cigarette. The smoke coursed its way through his lungs, but he again felt nauseous. Almost instinctively, he flicked the lit cigarette from his hand. JaMark watched the cigarette fly through the air, flipping end over end, shedding its ashes, and landing near the broken moonshine bottle. Unimpressed with his throw, JaMark closed his eyes and tried to sleep at the base of the old oak tree. Exhausted, he was asleep in moments and failed to notice the nascent blaze growing from his volatile mix of alcohol and fire. While he slept, the fire burned in the crossroads, first feeding on the alcohol and then on the dirt, as if the earth itself was soaked in moonshine. Within moments, the spark turned into a full blaze. Unlike a usual fire, however, the blaze was contained in the middle of the old intersection. Before long, a hole grew in the middle of the fire that burned at the crossroads. From the blazing flame in the depths of the earth emerged a figure, a tall, slender, well-dressed man in a black suit, tie, and matching top hat. Once fully emerged from the earth, the man spread his arms and extinguished the blaze. After dusting the ashes and soot off of his suit, the man walked towards JaMark. JaMark felt a tap on his left shoulder, both the surprise and pain waking him from his short slumber. He struggled to open his eyes as his body still wanted to sleep despite his brain alerting him of a presence. Stunned and disoriented, JaMark saw the tall, well-dressed man with the black suit, tie, and matching top hat standing over him. The man stuck out an old, weathered hand. "Come with me, and I will turn your life around," the man in the black suit said. JaMark stumbled on his words. "Do I know you?" "I'll make your life better than you can imagine or even dream of," the man in the black suit said. "Your arm, your life, it will all be better." Although still half asleep, the mention of his arm and the idea of being able to throw again sparked JaMark's curiosity. "What do you want from me?" JaMark asked. JaMark learned from his grandmother that nothing was ever for free, especially in the market of life help, guidance, and assistance. "I want a guarantee," the tall man in the suit said slowly in a deep tone that belied his tall, wistful frame. "A guarantee that you will always put me first. If you put me first, your arm will never hurt again. However, if you put anyone else first, everything I give you will disappear." The man paused and stared at JaMark. "And I will take your soul."